What command do you use to write for this screen to come?
This one, MS Paint.
MS Paint.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we came to know about
Yes.
basic IP details, right? Like classes,
Yes.
subnet mask, right? Okay. So
Yes.
today we have some kind of classifications. Okay. So in that classification, you have to understand the IP addresses. Okay. Are you understanding?
Okay.
So I'm going to put some IP addresses
Yes,
here.
sir.
You have to tell me whether this IP belongs to class A, class B, class C, or which class. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So here, this is the list of IP addresses. Okay. Now you tell me this IP address
Yes.
belongs to which class? The of.
Yes. The first one.
Yeah.
The first one is class A.
Okay. Class A. Okay. Second one.
Um, the second one nine. This one is second one is class B.
Okay.
The third one is class C.
Okay.
The fourth one is class A.
Very good.
Uh, the next one is 29. It's class C.
Fine.
72. 72 is class B.
Okay.
And the other one is class B too.
This is also class B. Fine. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So here you have passed. Okay. Now let me move to. Okay. So here you know that every IP address have some
Yes.
classes, right? Okay. And every IP address
Yes.
have some kind
Yes.
of uh, informations like network ID and broadcast ID, right? Like
Yes.
every IP has the starting IP address, right? So the start IP address is known as network ID and the last IP is known as broadcast ID, right? So if I'm putting
Yes.
this here, okay, and I will ask
Okay.
that okay, here you have to identify that this IP belongs to which class. Okay, no, 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 not class. You have already identified. Okay, so in this, what you have to find here, this like you have to find network ID and the broadcast ID. See, this is what the number one, the number one. Okay, this is what IP address subnet mask. What is this? So this is IP address, right? 15.192.168.10. So I'm asking if this one is IP address. So what is the network ID? Network.
Is class
Yes.
A.
No, I'm understanding. Yes, this IP belongs to class A. I am understanding, but I'm saying that what is the network ID of this IP? Okay, so network ID means 15.192.168.0. Okay, the first IP of any network is known as network ID. And now asking broadcast ID. Okay, and now asking for the broadcast ID. So what will be the broadcast ID of this? So broadcast is 15.255.255.255. Okay. Okay, so here, see, as I told you, these all are IP addresses, right? Number one, number two, number three. So if this is a IP address, so what is the network ID? Means what will be the first ID or first IP and the last IP of this network, right? So see, as you know that this class AIP is 15, right? Okay. So the first octet is network. After that, all is host, right? So the network ID will be like this. The first octet will never change and all the last octet will be converted to 0. And same in the broadcast ID, the first octet will never change and all the last host octet will be converted to 255.255. Okay. Means if I'm talking about this IP address 15.192.168.10, so what will be the first IP of this network? So if you are starting any IP from 15, okay, so this will be the first IP of that network, and first IP is known as network ID, and those IPs are not in use. Okay, now let's talk about the second one. Okay, so if I'm talking about this second one, which is 192.172, so see, first of all, how you are going to get this network ID? So you have to find out that 190 belongs to which class. So 190 belongs to class B, and class B has two network, two host, right? So 190.172.0.0, so host will be 00 in the in network ID, and so see what I'm saying. If I'm writing some IP address 15.16.150.150, so this is what, this is IP address, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when this is IP address, so this IP address belongs to class A, this we know, right?
Class A. Yes.
Okay, very good. Now see, but when we talk about any IP address, so this IP address is 15.16.150.150, but what is the starting, what is the first IP of this network, right? Because this IP also belongs to any network, as we know that in class A, right? Class A range is 1 to
It's
126.
15. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Now,
15.
yes. Now, but
Yes.
if someone will ask that, okay, how many,
126. Yes.
yeah, how many networks will be in class A, right? So there will be, I will explain
Yes.
you, like there will be 126 networks. Okay, so these all
Yes.
126 networks what you have here, so you are going to write,
Yes.
okay, this is one network, 1.0.0.0.0, this is one network, right? Okay, second network is 0.0.0, right? So if I'm talking about first network, right? So what will be the IP? What will be the start IP address? So whenever you are starting something,
Yes.
so 1 dot 0
Yes.
dot 0 dot 1, right? This will be the start IP address.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now tell me
Yes. Yes.
this 0,
It will start. Yes.
yeah, this 0, when this
Yes.
0 will become 2?
Yes.
Can you tell me when this 0 will
When the
become 2?
when the one goes when the one goes until 255.
Very good. So when it will come 255, right? So then 1
Yes.
dot 0 dot
Yes.
1 dot 0, like this, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, if I want to make this 1 as a 255, so you have to write like this: 1 dot 0 dot 255 dot 0 or 255. Then this will become 1 dot 0 dot 2 dot 0, like this, right? Are you understanding? And not 255, sorry. Okay. So again, when this 255 will come here, if you're writing here, when this 255 will come here, okay, then this 255 will be make, it will make this one as a 2, and again it will be like this. So same here, if you'll get some questions like that, that if you have this IP address, right? So what will be the first IP and the last IP of this IP, okay, or this network, you can say. Okay. So here you have to say that simple. This IP belongs to which class? So you will say that, okay, this IP belongs to class A, and class A has one network and three hosts. Okay. So always keep in mind, network will never change. It will be 15, whatever. Now, if I'm talking about network ID, network IP, so host will be 0000. But if I'm talking about 15 will never change, and if I am talking about broadcast ID, so that 0 will be converted to 255. So this is known as network IP or ID, and this one is known as broadcast ID. Okay, broadcast ID or IP. Okay. So same here, if someone will give you this IP address and ask that, okay, what is the network ID? So see here, this IP belongs to class A, so it's 15, and other will be 00 as per network ID, and broadcast ID will be like that. Now again, if same here, now here if someone will give you IP address 190.172.16, so 190 is the network part, no changes. 172 network part in class B, no changes. Yes, but host will be 00. Same here, 192, 172, no changes. Host part will be 255 when we calculate about broadcast ID. Okay, same here. Now come here. Here we are using network ID. Okay, so NID. Let me write it in NID. So NID is what? So 200 dot. Okay, so see, understand it. In this belongs to this 200 belongs to class C. So class C has three networks. So 200.1.1 will be there. Okay, and then 0, because it's talking about the start first IP. And now talking about BID, broadcast ID. Okay, so broadcast ID, what will be the broadcast ID? So 200.1.1. See, network will never change. Network part will be as it is. Only in the host part, for network ID, host part will be 0, and the broadcast ID host part will be 255. Very simple. Okay, like this. Okay, here now if I'm talking about 10, 10 belongs to class A, so 10, no problem. Other part will be 0000. Okay, Now broadcast ID. Okay, so broadcast ID is 10.255.255.255. Here class C. So network ID, NID network ID is 222.1.0.0. Okay, and the broadcast ID will be,
Hello?
yes. Okay, so now here, if this number 5, this IP belongs to which class? Tell me. Let me delete it. This number 5 belongs to which class? This one. This belongs to class C. So if I'm talking about class C network ID,
Yeah.
okay, so
The
NID,
two, it is 222.
yes, so it's 222,
Number 5 is going to, yeah,
okay. Now
yes,
now it's talking about network ID. So in class
yes,
C we have
yes.
three network, right? Okay, so the,
One,
yeah, so 1.0
yes,
will be the network ID.
yes,
Yes, and the broadcast ID is the last IP of the network. So
yes.
222.1.0.255.
The 255.
Okay, now here you tell me about number 6 and number 7. You have to tell me what will be the network ID and broadcast ID.
The network ID is going to be is going to 172 that 16 that 10.0. Is that okay?
Yes. Now see the one which I have written here. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello, Sayed?
Yes, yes. It's okay.
Hello? Yes.
Okay, so
Oh, yes,
now
yes.
this we have come to know that uh, network ID and broadcast ID. Now if another question will come.
Sayed? Yes,
Okay, so here you have seen that how we came to know network ID or network IP or broadcast IP of any specific network, right? Now there will be another question. Question will be, maybe if someone will ask that what will be the first IP and the last IP of any first IP, I'm saying. That was network ID and broadcast ID. Now here we are asking some other thing. Now see, here will be different question. Find first usable IP and last usable IP of any network, right? So here maybe this is a network, same network what we are using, same network here. Okay, so maybe if you have this network and you want to use this network, right? Okay, so what will be the first IP address? Okay, So maybe your IP is 15 dot like this. This is your IP address. This is your IP 15 dot 192.168.10, right? So this is the IP, but maybe this is your IP, but maybe someone else is using some different IP in your network, right? So what will be the first IP of this network? Okay, the network from which you belong, right? Or maybe the network you belong. So what will be the first IP? So the first IP is 15.0.0.1 will be the first IP. Okay, and what will be the last IP? So you can say here if first IP, and you can say last IP. Control C. So first IP and last. Fine. So here what will be the first IP again with if you are using 192.172? Say here. Network will never change in any condition. So network, I'm not changing network because this belongs to class B. So 190, sorry, 190 is the network ID. 172 is also network ID, but 16 and 10 is not a network ID, right? So C6 the it will be 0. Okay, and the last one instead of 0 it will be 1. Okay, now here if it is asking okay, the first one. Okay, so what will be the last IP address of 15 dot, okay, 255 255 254, sorry, here will be uh, okay, this is okay. Okay, and now here we are talking about last IP address, so 15 dot not 15, 190 dot 172 dot 255 dot 254. This is the last IP address. Okay, again come here, so here is 200 dot the first IP address, 200.1.1.1 is the first IP address. Okay, now talking about the last IP address. So the last IP address will be 200 200.1.1.254. Now again come here. Okay, so here will be 10 dot 0.0.1. Okay, then last IP address is 10 dot 0 dot sorry, 10.255.255.254, 222.1 dot 0 dot 1. Yes, this is my first IP address. Now the last IP address 172.16.255.254. So like this now you understood it, right? Okay, I'll be sharing some assignments with you. Okay, now after that another question will come that if I have any IP address, how I can convert those IP address into bits. And see, normally when we use the IP address and those IP addresses, we can see that it is in decimal number, right? We assign in decimal number, but computer understand those decimal numbers in binary format, because computer works in a binary format, right? So when computer understand those things in a binary format, right? But how it, like if I will tell you that okay, your IP is 100.192.16.5, so what is the decimal sorry, what is the binary value of that IP address, right? So we have some kind of easiest calculation method. So let's understand it. Now, suppose if I'll give you some IP address, okay, maybe I'll give you some IP address like this. So you have to convert this IP address into in binary language, okay, or in binary format, okay. Now, so this calculation chart is very much important. This one, this chart is very much important, okay. Okay, let me put this chart here, okay. And if you have worked with IP addressing, so you know about this chart, right? Now, simply how it works, and it is very easy. If you will calculate this one, you can calculate all those IP address. Now, if I'm talking about 85, right? So we have to find 85 from this chart. So if I will add which numbers together, which and which number together, so it will become 85, right? So for making it 85, okay. Now tell me, 64 plus, now see, if I'm talking about 85, okay, 64, let's take 64, we can take 64, because see, if I need 85, so I cannot take 128, so let's take 64, okay. Then if I will add 64, let me open calculator here, okay. So in that calculator you can understand little bit. Now see, if I need 85, so 64 plus, okay, let me add 32. So if I'm talking at 32, so it is moving more than 85, so no, I don't need 32. So 64 plus 16, see, now I don't need 32, right? You don't need 32, you need 16, okay. So you need 64, you need 16, okay. So now it's 80, now still you need 5, so you cannot take for 8, otherwise it will become 88. So you can take 4, yes, you can take 4, okay. So let's take 4, so plus 4, okay, then it will become 84. So you cannot take 2, you can take 1, right? So plus 1 is 85, very good, no problem. Now tell me, did you use this 128? No. So you have to use 0 there. Now 64 was used, so is 1. 32 no use, 0. 16 was used, so 1. 8 0 4 1 2 0 1 1. So what will be the binary of 85? So you can write here 85 equal to 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. Okay, so 85 binary is this one. Now delete this one, okay. So we got 85 binary, we have 85 binary now, okay. Okay, now we are talking about, okay, so 85 binary is done. Now we are talking about 5 binary, right? So can we take 128 for 5? For 5, can we take 128? No. So 128 is 0, 64 is 0, 32 is 0, 16 is 0, 8 is 0, but no, 4 will be there. 1 2 0, okay, 1 is 1. So 5 binary is 0 0 0 3 4 5 1 0 1, like that, okay. Now talking about 191, okay. So what will be the value of 191? Okay, let me delete this one. Okay, now if I'm taking 191, okay, for 191, okay, now for 191, can I take 128? Yes. So 128 is on 64. So 128 plus 64 is 192. So I cannot take this one. So this is 0. Okay. Can I take 32? Yes. Take 32. Okay. Take 16. Take 8. Take 4. Take 2. Take 1. Okay. Now let's calculate it. 128 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 equal to 191. Yes. So I'll take the binary is now 10111131. Okay, so this is the binary of 191. Now what is the binary of 1? Very simple. Binary of 1 is, see, 128 is 0, 128 is 0, 64 is 0, 32 0, 16 0, 8 0, 4 0, this. Okay, so the 0 0 0 0 7 0 5 6 7, and this is 0. So how, see how you have calculated it. It's very simple. You, this chart, you have to take this chart, and the number what is matching you put 1, and the number which is not matching put 0. Okay, so we will be sharing some assignments with you. Okay, complete those assignments and let me know whether you are able to convert the binary to decimal or not, right? Okay, so see here, these are the assignments. You can see here, so these are the assignments. Okay, see, these are binary numbers. So here is a, what is the binary representation of decimal number 117? So if it is 117, so which number will be the answer? Okay, so I told you how to find out. Now the binary number of this one 10110 100, okay, has what decimal equivalent? So which decimal will be matching with this binary? Okay, here also you have some questions, here also you have some questions like that. Okay, so complete these questions and let me know whether any, if you have any doubt, and once you complete, send me through WhatsApp that yes, you understood and you have completed it. So once you have completed it, okay, these binary calculations, okay, after that, see here, here is also that IPv4 address. These are addresses, you have to convert it to binary. Okay, once you will be done with this one, then we will be working with these IPv4 lab 1 and lab 2, and once you are done with this lab 1 and lab 2 successful, then you are done with IP address. Okay, so let me share these assignments with you. Okay, complete and send back to me. Okay.